Tesla earnings are coming up tomorrow and I'm on vacation, but I wanted to hop in and share with you guys very briefly my thoughts on Tesla as we go into earnings, what I think is going to happen, what are my current positions, and more importantly, I want to talk to you about risk management. So I posted on X earlier that earnings is coming up and no setup is worth your sanity. No trade is worth your future, and over leveraging isn't confidence, it is desperation. You need to control your risk, you need to size small, and one trade won't make you rich, but it could wipe you out. Now, the whole point of this trade was to obviously share the fact that you should not be over leveraged as we head into earnings. I know that a lot of people responded to that actual post saying that, yes, all you need is one trade to actually get rich. You're entirely wrong, Pete. And I will say to you, yes, right? If you're right and if you're lucky, you could take one trade that would ultimately make you, quote, rich. Now, what does that mean? To some people, it's completely different, but I can promise you, as somebody who has made more money than I ever thought was possible at one point, a certain amount of money does not make you rich. It is the confidence in your ability to make money over the long term. It is in your discipline and your confidence, like I said, to know that you have this covered no matter what the market is, that actually, in my opinion, makes you rich. So even if you strike it big, even if you 10x, whatever money you have right now, there's always a chance that if you didn't earn it in a correct way, if you didn't earn it throughout a specific system, if you don't feel confident in what you're doing, you're just ultimately going to end up spending it and giving it away long term. Look at the amount of gamblers and the amount of people who win the lottery who strike it rich only to give it all back at some point. So I understand, that's the responsible nature that we have to talk about before we move into this. It's probably what you guys don't want to hear, but it is true. So in my opinion, you guys do what you want. It's not financial advice. As somebody who has blown up multiple accounts and somebody who has made over $5 million in just the past couple of years, having a system, sticking to your system, using proper risk management is the single most important thing. What happens this week, what happens with earnings this week does not matter long term. Your ability to stick to your system matters more than anything as far as your financial future. Now, getting into the actual chart and technical setups, nothing has really changed since the last time that we made a video. Start by looking at the weekly chart. All of our criteria here is met. Structure is still bullish. Weekly BX trender is still bullish, showing buying pressure and is still green. Looking at the volume profile, you can see there's basically no volume from 350 up to 450. This is important because it means that if we're able to sweep $350, once again, a big if, that there's really nothing that's going to stop us from pushing to 450. This move up to $450 could happen within a month or two, which is close to a 35% move. Now, the same thing can be said to the downside. There's basically no volume from 320 down to 275. So if this rejects, if earnings are poor, then we are definitely moving our way back down to 260 or 250. So these are really the two ways that I expect this to play out. But I do believe that if we move to 250, that we will most likely bounce there. And I think that there's still a very high chance that we are going to end this year, or at least Q1 of 2026, anywhere between $450 to maybe $500. It just depends on how this plays out. Now, in the last week, we talked about the positions that we were currently holding. At this moment, I am holding Tesla 2026 call options based off of the weekly chart, and I'm holding 919 2025 call options based off of the daily chart. The reason that we entered last week on the July 10th, so about 12 days ago now, was because this BX trender on the daily ended up closing higher low. So when we get a close from dark red to light red, it's an indication that buyers are entering and that we should bounce. And since then, the stock is up about 7.5%. Now, the issue is that I did not believe, and I still don't believe, that we were going to get a sizable move until after earnings. If we look at price action here, you can see that we are making a classic squeeze. We are breaking out. We are pulling back to make a higher low. What I mean by that is that this bounce here did not take out that previous low. However, instead of breaking out to a higher high, we are actually rejecting and making a lower high. We are pulling back to make a higher low, which is a good sign, but now we're rejecting, as it seems, to make a lower high. So this is why we should continue this compression, continue this squeeze until the catalyst of earnings is over. So if earnings are solid, then we will break out to the upside as stated, or break to the downside as stated. And that would end up getting us out of this wedge formation that we are currently seeing at this point. And if you want to learn how to draw these rejection and support levels that you see here, these smart money zones, or get access to all of our free indicators, that you can go ahead and check out our course library down in the description. There's over 10 courses teaching you everything that I know about trading in sequential order, going over how I set position sizing, proper risk management, as well as my exact entry and exits. The link to our entire courses will be down in the description. As of now, it's just a waiting game. There's nothing that we can say or that we can do to actually control the stock or what's going to happen. The only thing that we can control is our risk management. And the one thing that I will say to you is that the positions that I am currently holding relative to my fund are very small. I have less than about 4% of my total capital in Tesla. So if this breakout ends up happening, awesome. We're gonna make a good amount of money. I'll be pretty happy. We should see this move back up to 400 to 450. If that doesn't happen, not the end of the world. I mean, honestly, Tesla, you can even see here without giving away what I'm holding, because I have people who pay for this, but like, we are holding a lot of positions and Tesla is just a small amount of them. I hope this video helps, guys. Thank you for all of your support. Let's hope that Tesla breaks out this week. But if it doesn't, it's just a part of the game.